This case came to my attention in the recent news, and after hearing what this precious 7-year-old victim's mother has said, I really wanted to share it with you all. What happened to Athena Strand is shocking and horrific, a crime that none of us would even dare to think is possible. That someone we let near our homes every day could be such a monster. Athena's mother has made it clear that the main thing she wants is, of course, justice, but also for everyone to remember her princess, Athena Strand. So I want to give space for that here on my channel with all of you, and these are the exact cases that are so important to show our support, our love, and our attention, because right now is a time when the family is really, truly mourning and needs our help. Athena's mother does have a GoFundMe right now for Athena's justice, and I will have that linked down below if you would like to support as I did. I was also going to say that it would be wonderful if all of us could actually, anyone who donates, put in the hashtag in the comments of, your donation saying hashtag remember Athena Strand, because that is something that her mother, Maitland, has made very, very clear. She wants all of this to make it so that Athena was remembered for who she was, not for just being a victim. So I think it would be beautiful if we could let her know that that's exactly what we are trying to do. There's also a GoFundMe for her father's side of the family, and because they really are just in mourning, they've had to take leaves of absence at work, and so they just need support in general. So I will leave both of those linked down below. I completely understand if you cannot donate. It's not really about the money. It's about showing this family that they are not alone, that they are supported in this. And learning about Athena, whether it's watching this video, whether it's researching on your own, whether it's listening to interviews about her, that is what is truly important here. And I am wearing pink today because that is something that the entire family as well as the community has been doing to support Athena. Her favorite color was pink, so I decided to wear it today, and I think that that would be beautiful if any of you who, think about her, whenever you think about her, wear some pink that day and then go and tell somebody why you're wearing pink and tell them about Athena and spread her story, her light, her beautiful nature that was completely ripped away. So let's go ahead and get into the story and what exactly happened to Athena Strand. So it was November 30th of this year, 2022, and 7-year-old Athena Strand was reported missing in Paradise, Texas. Now, Athena's full name is Athena Presley Monroe Strand, and she was said to be a very beautiful first grader who was loving and friendly. She absolutely loved people, animals, and flowers. She was very much a girly girl. Like I said, her favorite color was pink, and she loved riding horses with her aunt. She was really close with her aunt, but she had a good relationship with her mother and her father, even though they were separated at this time. She had 3 sisters, and she was mainly said to be a daddy's girl. So her dad would go to these Renaissance festivals, and she would often tag along. She would dress up as a Viking princess with a huge fake axe and shield, and she just really loved that whole thing and getting to be with her father during this. And her mother would describe her as the happiest soul you could ever meet. She was really becoming who Athena wanted to be, and she was coming into herself, and she was only 7, so those things could have just become vastly different. Unfortunately, she wasn't even allowed to grow up, and her mother actually had custody of her at this time. Her mother, Maitland, lived in Oklahoma, and she had full custody of Athena. However, Athena really loved her dad, like I said, so for the fall semester, she was actually staying with her father, who lived in Texas, who also was married to another woman, so she had a stepmother there as well. Now, her father was named Jacob, and her stepmother was named Ashley, so she was supposed to be there for the holidays and then go back to her mother's house for Christmas. That Wednesday, November 30th, she had been at her dad's home in Wise County when her stepmother was unable to find her. Now, her stepmother Ashley claimed that Athena had arrived home from school that day. She had rode the bus. She had gotten off at the stop, and this was around 4:15 p.m. So she came inside, and apparently the stepmother and Athena had a little bit of an argument, and her father was not home because he was actually on a hunting trip, so he wasn't there, and it was said to make Athena kind of upset that her father wasn't home. So they got into a little bit of an argument, and then she went ahead and went to her room. I was doing some laundry, and her stepmother was going to cook some dinner, and so that's where her stepmother thought she was. And this bedroom that she would go to was actually outside of the home, so there was a converted shed that was made into a room for Athena and her sister while the main house was having construction done on it. So she was actually in there, and so her stepmother had gone to talk to Athena after a little while and realized she wasn't inside this room. Now the stepmother began searching for her, and in about an hour later she still couldn't locate her, so she decided to report her missing. And she was looking inside and outside of the home and said that she wasn't anywhere. And so this was around 6:40 when the police came, and they were searching the area to no avail. And Child Protective Services at this time were called, CPS, to make sure that there wasn't any cases open against this father, stepmother, or involving Athena that would point to these parents being involved in this. As heartbreaking as that is, when a family is not in the wrong, it's something that has to be done, unfortunately, to make sure that she was safe in that home prior to leaving. Now, CPS confirmed that there were no reports made about Athena. However, there was a report about the stepmother and another child. CPS actually had to send a social worker out to this home to visit the stepmother and this other child, but not much is really said about what that was about. But it wasn't about Athena at all. Unfortunately, the police were not able to find anything either, and so the next day an Amber Alert was issued saying that Athena was endangered, and that when she left she was wearing a gray or black long sleeve shirt with blue jeans with flowers on the front pockets and brown boots. Now, investigators were theorizing at this point that Athena could have run away due to the argument with her stepmother, that she just needed to get away for a while, or that, she could not find her way back home when she had walked too far away. And this theory was made even more likely when it was found that Athena had a history of sometimes leaving when she would get into arguments with her parents, and that she would always come back. That was the thing. She was always back before dark. Athena's biological mother came all the way from Oklahoma hearing this, and she would say that Athena was actually very afraid of the dark, so she would not be out there on her own. And at this point, it had been dark outside. She had been gone that entire night. Athena's aunt, who she was close to, said that she didn't think that Athena would run off, and that maybe she was just upset that day, but she didn't think that that would have caused her to run away. Officers who were speaking to the stepmother and the father who did return home that day, they had said that these two were acting appropriately, they were cooperating, and nothing seemed suspicious with them. 200 volunteers along with firefighters, EMS, and several police departments were all searching at this point. And due to the turnout of volunteers, due to the media coverage and people wanting to help, the police did end up having the search just conducted by law enforcement agencies because they were worried that somebody was going to find something that nobody should have to see.
Every minute counts. Right now, I am in front of her home, as you can see behind me. And like you mentioned, Brooke, this looks a lot different than it did yesterday. If you've been following the story, you know that yesterday this area was flooded with hundreds of volunteers helping look for her. But today, that is not the case. But not because people didn't want to. It's what the police wanted instead. This morning, the Wise County Office of Emergency Management shared this message telling people to stay home and to stay clear of the area. Now, we are not sure why that is the case, but Sheriff Aiken says that law enforcement will be searching some particular areas today.
Registered sex offenders were also located in this area, and they were interviewed, and nothing seemed to point to Athena. And this is when the FBI as well as Texas Rangers were getting involved. And that Friday, December 2nd, which was 2 days after she vanished, at around 10:56 in the morning, Athena would be found. Now, this was 7 miles from her home between Boyd and Cottondale, and officers began gathering near a very deep ditch off the side of the road. They then closed off that road to any traffic, and they had previously searched 2 different locations kind of this way, but this time it was way more serious, and they were taking a very long time in this section of the community. And that night, there was a press conference held where Sheriff Lane Atkin announced that she had been found and she was deceased. He would also announce that they actually had a suspect in custody, which was shocking to a lot of people.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Lane Aiken, Sheriff Wise County. I'm sorry. Good evening. We're glad to see y'all here tonight. It's been a really tough few days, and I'm very proud of the people who are here who helped us so much to get some resolution, to get some understanding, to provide answers for the families. And these people, we couldn't have done it without that. Could not have done it without them. The Texas Rangers. This is the acting SAC, Jim Dwyer with FBI. And then I've got my chief deputy and captain, enforcement captain here. It was a monumental task, and because of the cooperation, because of us working together, we were able to get the answers. Some of the answers were not the answers that we would have hoped that we would have gotten. And we want to send our condolences out to the family of Athena Strand. Her body was recovered about 2 hours ago, maybe 3, 6 miles that direction. It hurts our hearts to know that that child died. So much so that she is on her way now to the medical examiner's office. And there's a Texas Ranger in front of her, and there's a Texas Ranger behind her. This community does not like losing our children. And we could see it because of all the people who came out and helped us throughout this ordeal. It was most meaningful what the citizens did, because we have a close-knit group of folks here in Wise County. And it's our pleasure to serve these folks in Wise County, the Rangers, the FBI, and the Sheriff's Office. We're glad that we've had this opportunity, but we're just sad that it didn't end the way that we would hope that it would end.
They said that this suspect had actually confessed to the murder and where the body was, but hadn't gone into detail yet. The sheriff said that this man did not know the family prior and that this was a crime of opportunity. Now, the arrest affidavit for this man revealed how they ended up catching this man. You see, they had gone to the Strand residence and they had noticed that a FedEx package had been delivered to the home that day. So they ended up contacting FedEx to try to decipher who was driving the truck that day, what truck it was, and when this was dropped off. Now, that is when they were actually able to find exactly who the driver was. They located the van and they found the surveillance footage.
A tip was received. We knew early on in the investigation that there had been a FedEx driver made a delivery in front of the house about the same time that little Athena, 7-year-old Athena, came up missing. Continued good work by this investigative team. They were able to determine that the driver abducted Athena. And from the investigative standpoint, digitally as well as good old interviews, we think Athena died within just a very hour or so, the very hour or so after her departure from her home.
The footage showed this driver taking Athena into his vehicle. From there, they located him, and he pretty much immediately did confess and would give them the location of her body. This was 31-year-old Tanner Lynn Horner, who had been working for FedEx and delivered a package to her home that day.
The driveway is about 200 yards or so probably pretty close to her gate.
What leads you to believe that she passed away within an hour of leaving home?
There's digital evidence as well as interviews that causes us to believe that.
The suspect confessed?
We do have a confession.
Is there anything that you can give us on why the suspect said he did this, or what motivated him? Or?
We really can't get into the content of the confession, but I will say that we have a confession, and there's so many other things, because this has really just come to this position, this time, and just closure just hours ago.
At that time, Tanner was being held at the Wise County Jail on a $1.5 million bail, and he was being charged with capital murder and aggravated kidnapping. He was said to be in a cell all by himself, being watched around the clock by different officers.
You know, it's one of the toughest investigations that I've been involved in, because it's a child. And anytime there's a child that dies, it just hits you in your heart. You compare that child to your own children when they were that age, and it just takes the wind out of your sails, but at the same time, it gives you purpose, because you want to make sure that you do the best you can so that you get the best resources together to do what has been done here, and getting this done in really just about a 3-day period.
FedEx did end up hearing about this and would release a statement saying, "Words cannot describe our shock and sorrow at the reports surrounding this tragic event. First and foremost, our thoughts are with the family during this most difficult time, and we continue to cooperate fully with the investigating authorities." But in this affidavit was actually the confession that Tanner Horner had made, and he had said that he had been delivering the package at the Strand residence when he got back in his car and began backing up, only to hit Athena. But he said that Athena was not seriously hurt when he backed up onto her, and he panicked and put Athena in the van with him. Now, Tanner was saying that at this time, Athena was conscious. She was talking to him, she was telling him her name, but he then tried to break her neck with his hands to kill her. And when that didn't work, he would strangle 7-year-old Athena in the back of the van. What was his motive? Well, Tanner claimed that he was afraid that Athena would tell her father that he had backed into her, and so he killed her. From what investigators could find, Tanner Horner did not have a criminal record at this point. He was found to be living in Lake Worth. However, the police did end up saying that this was wrong and that he lived near the lake itself, but miles away from Lake Worth in Fort Worth. He had gone to the Azale High School and is said to also be a musician, and his Instagram was found by a few news outlets, and there were some strange things that were found. Like, there was a post in 2014 that he had written that said, "Sometimes I hear her cries. Silence is the dirtiest trick of life. If I'm so empty, then why do I feel alive?" Another post kind of just showed the type of person he was. He was using a very racist slur, and not much has really come out about him except for a few statements from his neighbors, which we'll get into later. But at this point, the sheriff was asking the DA to seek the death penalty against him once they were handed the case. Now, FBI agent Jim Dwyer would say that he believed, due to statements from the killer as well as digital evidence, which I assume is from the van, that Athena had died within the hour of her abduction. And an autopsy has been done, but the cause of death has yet to be revealed. However, investigators have said that they believe that she died by his hand and not by that FedEx truck. After hearing about this, on December 5th, her mother, Maitland, posted a video of her other daughter sobbing, crying for Athena, saying that she missed her. And this was actually taken before she even disappeared. It was just the fact that she was at her dad's house and her sister loved her so much and wanted her to come home. And her mom was telling her she'll be back home with us soon. That next day, there was a candlelight vigil, and over 1,000 people from the community showed up to support. And at this point was the first time that her mother, Maitland, would speak publicly. And she had really just been through a lot. I will let you listen to it because I think it's important to show you and let you listen to her.
I don't know how to thank you guys for all that y'all have done for my family, but especially for my baby. And I just want to keep her face and her story alive because I want everyone to know Athena for Athena and not for what someone tried to make her out to be. Because she's the best little girl. She really was. Y'all are making me cry saying Athena strong, so I needed to be strong for her. I don't care if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Remember Athena Strand.
Her teacher got up and spoke about how sad all of her classmates were without her. At this point, there was also a pink memorial outside of her church, and also where her body was located. They had like balloons in that area, which I thought was very touching. 2 days later, Athena's mother, Maitland, actually did another press conference with her own lawyer, and she was showing the package that this FedEx driver, who was a killer, had delivered to their house that day. And it turned out that it was a Christmas present for Athena. This was a set of Barbie dolls that said, "You can be anything." Her mother said, "I was robbed of watching her grow up by a man that everyone was supposed to be able to trust, to just do one simple task, deliver a Christmas present and leave."
First, I want to thank everyone for being here. You being here, not just the media, but the community, helps us ensure that Athena Strand's name is never forgotten.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. My name is Maitland, and I'm the mommy of Athena Presley Monroe Strand. On November 30th, a FedEx delivery man drove onto Athena's father's property to deliver a package of what was supposed to be a Christmas present for our daughter. This is the package, and it's the first time I'm seeing it. The package is containing "You Can Be Anything" Barbies. Athena was robbed of the opportunity to grow up to be anything she wanted to be. And this present, ordered out of innocence and love, is one she will never receive. Athena's favorite holiday was Christmas, as it is for many children everywhere. The joy Athena gave her family and the joy she felt on Christmas is something we will never feel with her again. That delivery driver admitting to kidnapping and killing my innocent, free-spirited 7-year-old daughter on Friday, December 2nd. At the time of Athena's abduction, she was staying with her stepmother and father in Paradise, Texas, doing what kids do. Playing within the bounds of her father's property on the same land he grew up and played on. The same land that for 20 or more years, he, his siblings, and all of his friends had been safe. I was supposed to bring Athena back home to Oklahoma after Christmas break. Now instead, Athena will be cremated, and she will come home in an urn, because I'm not anywhere close to being ready to let my baby go. I'm sorry. I will never see her bright blue eyes or her ornery smile again. I will never be able to hear her say, "I love you, Mommy." I will never be able to do her hair again or to hold her while she sleeps. I ask everyone to hold your littles just a little tighter for me. I want to take a moment to thank the community for the outpouring of love and support. From the moment Athena went missing, this community flew into action, and they have not stopped. I have felt your prayers, I have read your messages and your letters, and I see your pink everywhere. I want everyone to know Athena. She was an amazing little girl who loved dancing, singing, and all animals: dogs, cats, horses, lizards, and chinchillas. She also loved school and all of her friends in the first grade, who are now also struggling with her senseless murder. Athena also loved flowers, but she was also not afraid to get down in the mud with the boys. She was her father's daughter. I noted that Athena's death will not be in vain. I will spend the rest of my life fighting for her so that no other family will endure such unbearable pain and grief. That a monster attempted to take Athena's voice, but we are her voice. Keep Athena's light shining. Thank you.
Now, the Strand family's lawyer did speak too, and they said that they do not want another family to feel this kind of loss, and so they are actually investigating FedEx's responsibility in regards to this and seeking answers and who all was actually involved in the decisions that led to this.
I'm asking the community to contact us if they have pieces of information that might be helpful. So for example, if there's someone that worked at FedEx or with this contracting company, we would love to hear from you. If you're someone who knows the defendant, we would love to hear from you. On our website, which is versusinjury.com, we have a page which is /answers for Athena. Maitland's goal and my goal ultimately is to affect change. We don't want another family to feel this kind of loss.
On December 9th, the private funeral was held, and a company called the Soul Shine Industries actually donated a pink casket for this, and this had Viking symbols that meant father-daughter and mother-daughter on it. And there was also a rhinestoned princess crown on top because her father actually had a tattoo of a princess crown, and that was Athena's favorite.
It's not about just painting a casket, it's about representing that loved one's life.
During this service, her favorite songs from the Frozen movie were played, and she was then said to be cremated. The community has really been said to come together on this. The whole state wore her favorite color, pink, and at her school, all of the Texas school districts were doing the same to honor her. And on December 11th, locals actually put together a bike and car ride where cars could donate $20 to be able to just ride around town and show up for the community and for justice for Athena. Many of them also brought toys for children in need to be able to donate that as well, and they were going to donate it in the name of Athena. Everyone in the community talks about how this has scared them, and that especially parents and grandparents, and the fact that they are constantly having things delivered and they don't even think about it. Now, people who live in Fort Worth, where Tanner lived, has said that it's a very quiet place and that they all keep to themselves. And one woman said that she knew where Tanner lived and that she would always see his FedEx truck outside of the home, but she didn't really know him. She said that on that Friday night after Tanner was in custody, she returned to her street to see it all blocked off with a whole bunch of police outside because they were trying to find evidence inside of this home to see if there was anything more suspicious to lead them as to why he would do something like this, but nothing has been revealed that was found. Another neighbor claimed that Tanner actually lived with his mother and his grandmother and was always coming and going. He would be gone for months, and that some of the neighbors believed that Tanner was also a father to a young child, but that child did not live with him. Not much has been revealed more than that about who Tanner is or his past. And I am hoping to keep you updated with this case if any further information comes out and when the trial begins. But Athena's grandfather, Mark, ended up posting on social media saying that he wanted 5 minutes alone in a cell with that psycho that took Athena from him, but that soft, gentle voice in the back of his head was telling him that he needs to forgive him, and he believes that voice is God. He ended up writing, "There's not 1 ounce of my flesh that wants to do this or say this, but my spirit has heard God's voice, and right now, while tears flood my eyes, I declare publicly that I forgive this man. Hate will not win. I hope my family will understand that I don't do this for the sake of this man. I do this for the sake of my family and myself, and to honor the voice of God who is giving me the strength to say this. I do this to honor our precious Athena, who knew no hate." The most recent update in this case is that Athena's father, Jacob, is now suing FedEx, Tanner, and the company who actually hired Tanner, who is named Big Topspin Inc. And this is for negligence and not implementing safety policies and procedures that needed to be implemented, and he is seeking $1 million in damages. And so far, FedEx has actually not provided details on Tanner's employment history or the hiring protocols that he had to go through to become a driver. It seems like they're not being as cooperative as at least the public knows. We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. This is an ongoing investigation. So with cases like this, we cannot say that we know everything. We can never say we know everything, but we cannot say, especially right now, that what we have read and heard is all that there is. But the mother and father, even though they're separated, they feel the same way. You know, Jacob has sued these people, and Maitland has said screening and hiring policies must be put in place so that monsters wearing delivery uniforms don't show up on our children's doorsteps. In a recent update, an interview of Maitland has come out since this video was filmed, and I wanted to add part of that in here. So Maitland talks on how her family is currently doing, how she feels about her daughter's killer's motive, and what she would say to him if she got the chance. I'll play it now.
What's this last 2 weeks been like for you and for your family?
It's been rough. Mostly it's been rough for my daughter, my 3-year-old. She doesn't understand why she can't call Sissy or why Sissy hasn't came home yet, because this is a very long time for her to go without seeing her sister. We're coping. We're trying to function. It's been long. It's been hard, but it feels very chaotic at the same time. A lot of moving parts. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm confused. I am doing my best. I don't sleep very often. I don't sleep for an extended period of time the way people are supposed to. Noises at night scare me. I triple check my doors every night. I hold my 3-year-old tighter and I'm scared to let her go.
Can you tell us just a little bit about her and just about who she was to you while you were living with her and teaching her and instructing her and raising her for her 7 years?
Athena was, I think the way her teacher worded it was very polite. Athena was very free-spirited and wild, and she loved to jump in muddy puddles, and she was very smart. I said I wasn't gonna cry. Athena was a lot of things. I'm sorry. 2 seconds.
It's okay.
That's the thing, it's not okay. I think a lot of things that people miss when they see me is not me. It's the fact that Athena would run up to anybody and scream out their name and give them hugs and say hello because she didn't know a stranger.
But if that alleged confession is true, that he could have done the right thing and your daughter would be alive, how do you react to that?
I've thought about that a lot, actually. Jacob and I are very forgiving people. If that were the case and Athena was not injured, or even if, she had a few bumps and scrapes, he could have just driven away. We wouldn't have went after him legally. We wouldn't have done anything. We would have forgave him because accidents do happen. But he chose to do more. And what he did is unforgivable. I did Athena's hair and I dressed her before the funeral. I did all of that myself. And I have a hard time believing that Athena couldn't have just walked away.
If you could say anything or even ask anything to the suspect, is there anything you'd like to ask or say to him?
I don't think he would ever give me the answers that I want or that I think I need to hear. If I could sit down in front of him, I think what I would like to tell him is that he is nothing, but Athena is absolutely everything. And I will make sure that everybody in this world knows that he is nothing and she is everything.
How do you as a mom in this situation or react to the punishment that they're seeking?
I support the death penalty. In any sentencing that may come, as long as it's to the fullest extent that we can get it to. Every breath that he takes is one that my daughter doesn't. I was the one who saw her face last, and I closed her casket before her daddy and her uncles and her grandfathers carried her out. And I held her hand and I kissed her And I told her how sorry I was and how much I love her. I wish everybody that helped me find Athena would have actually gotten to meet Athena as Athena, because everybody would have loved her so much more than they think that they already do. It was a privilege to know Athena and to raise her and to be her mother. And I just want everyone to know that I am very grateful for everything that everyone's done.
What is the one thing you want us to remember?
That Athena was a real little girl. She was very, very loved. I want people to know not to take the time with their children for granted, because I would do anything to go back to May 23rd of 2015 and relive every moment from that time forward. And we need to do better to protect our children and expect better of other people.
More updates are sure to come. However, right now, that is all we know. And the most important thing here is to remember Athena Strand. Athena Strand, I hope that you are resting in peace. And to Athena's family, I am sending you so much love and strength. And you have the support of so many for your sweet girl. You will receive justice, and we will all be rooting for you and be the people that you can lean on in these very, very dark times. And I'm so very sorry that this happened. It should have never occurred. It's very scary, I think, to all of us, especially right now when there are so many, presents coming from delivery drivers to our doors, and kids are home from school. And it's just a time when you really have to, unfortunately, be aware of everyone, even if it's someone who you see every single day and you think that they're fine, that they have been through the right background checks, or that they have, been deemed as safe. You can never be sure. So yeah, thank you for listening to this story about Athena Strand, and I hope that you put on some pink today or tomorrow, or any day that she pops into your head. And I think that that would be just a beautiful little remembrance of her, and something that would make her continue to live on in our hearts and in our minds. So don't ever forget to speak up. Your voice is powerful enough, and I love you to absolute pieces. Okay. Bye.